So one time I had just done this Bugatti Type 50S, which is a full big
Mm.
car, not like a sporty Grand Prix car. And I remember coming around the corner and I was like, this thing's got some pep. And I stepped on it, like not thinking much of it. And next thing you know, the car was in a full four-wheel drift, like going around the corner. It was awesome.
Love
It
it.
was really cool.
I love it.
The car belonged to Peter Mullen, so I was kind of now I can kind of say that I've done it, but
On this week's show, we're joined by Hagerty's Director of Events, our pal Logan Calkins. Air Water, Motorlux, Radwood, the California Mille. You know, those events. Logan's a great guy with a ton of stories, and you do not want to miss this one. Join us as we drift a vintage Bugatti, find an incredibly rare Daimler Double Six in a field, and surf the warm, radioactive waters. It's That Car Show.
Well, welcome back to That Car Show. I'm Lindsay, and I'm here with Dan and Ryan. And
Hey.
tonight we have a good friend of mine, Logan Calkins, who is the Director of Events for Hagerty, joining us. Hi, Logan.
hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we've got Dan
Glad
and
to have
Ryan
you
here.
here.
How are you guys?
Good. Although in Denver, I think it was 80 today, and it's going to be 35 tonight. So it's
So
How
just
long today?
keeping you on your
80 in
toes, huh?
Seattle.
that's right. Yeah, I think we had the heat and the air on in the same day.
That's like when you're standing on the equator. You're like, all right, I got a foot in each. We're good.
Right?
Yeah.
I live in San Diego, so it's just always 75 here.
God, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the life.
It's like the San Diego equivalent of the It's Always Sunny, but like it really is.
Right.
The problem is you just complain when it's 5 degrees one way or the other. So
Right.
same problem, just different.
It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah,
tolerance.
it's just a narrower margin.
Yes.
Yeah, your tolerances get much closer together. But it's so nice to have you join us. It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in person in a bit. I heard we missed each other at Aaron Ashton's Fast Saturday, the last one.
Yes, I had something else come up at last minute, so unfortunately I wasn't able to make it, but
I know. I wasn't either. I had the same thing. I ended up being out at Willow for a Shelby celebration. So we will see each other at the next one. That's such a fun event. If you haven't been, it's here in Southern California and it's really, really fun. But let's get back to you. So you're the director of events and it's the non-Concours and marketing partnership events for Hagerty. And
correct,
you
yes.
have been at the company for 10 years, started in a different area. So maybe you can share kind of what your path was at the company and what that means now in terms of like, how do you manage these giant events and put on such amazing experiences?
well, I have an amazing team. That's how I do it. But no, yeah, I started at Hagerty 10 years ago. It was a much smaller company back then. I think there was 600 employees when I started, which only about 15 to 20 of them were outside of the home office in Traverse City.
Oh,
So
wow.
this was pre-Zoom, back in the old days when we'd like call into like, these phone lines and they'd put everything on speakerphone and you'd talk to your team and like, we'd fly out for the Christmas party and the family picnic and everything else. No, I originally started with Hagerty in their private client services department. So I handled all of our top tier clients from everything west of the Mississippi. So the whole entire western half of the country. So
That's quite a territory.
travel around, meet with people. I used to tell my kids I was a professional cocktail party attender. Because that's pretty much what I did. I did that for about 6 years, and then got really into vintage racing and found that was kind of a cool little area in the company. And I was racing my little Austin 7, at the Monterey Historics and such, and that kind of evolved into a role in our motorsports department. So,
Yeah.
exploring a lot of our track partnerships and track insurance and such, and that rolled into more of our specialty products, like our non-car products, so motorcycles, trucks, vintage camper
Oh, okay.
trailers, things like that. And I did that for a couple years, and then I made a big shift over to our events team. And the first week I was there, they put me on all these meetings for a thing called Motorlux, And I said, what is Motorlux? And they go, oh, that's McCall's. And I said, oh, okay. And they said, yeah, you're putting it on in 6 months. So we built our team and we did it. So
That's amazing. Yeah. Nothing like jumping right in, trial by fire.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's been a really fun journey. Hagerty's been a great company. It still feels like a very small company, and as you guys know, it's become very large. But it is still very much a passion-driven company, and it's been a lot of fun. We get to be creative and do fun things. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, and so you and I originally met when we worked together on some of the events at Hagerty, and that was one of the things, when I look back on my experience, I mean, the team really made the whole thing because it was just such a fun group of people, super talented, hardworking. And like you said, you deliver these incredible events in 6 months, apparently. Which is amazing.
Originally it was kind of like, well, I like these things, so I just threw them into the event. And you kind of hope that other people have the same taste as you. I think this year they said, hey, you've had an off-road section in the event every year, so maybe we don't do off-road this year. So
maybe mix it up a little bit.
Dial it back a little bit.
Right. So that's where the writers come in and you're like, okay, so we still want off-road, but what are we calling it? How are we changing what the label is so that people will think it's different?
It's Overland, isn't it?
Right. I'm like, that's where you go and welcome to the overlanding, which we've never done before.
That's right.
We did overlanding. We did body cars.
There you go.
Yeah. You're like, we may have run out of labels. That's so
Logan,
funny.
you seem like one of those guys that just has the perfect job. You're the perfect guy for the job. I mean, there's some of us looking on, with more than a little envy. Did you grow up with cars? What was that root moment for you that
Yeah, so it's
taproot, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yes. So my dad was into cars.
Okay.
My grandpa built airplanes for the military. He built the F-100 Super Saver for North American and was always into cars. And when he retired, my dad was into VWs, and so was my grandpa. And in his retirement, he would go to swap meets, buy engine parts, go home, rebuild engines, and then he would go to the swap meet and sell running VW engines. And so he had this old VW single cab truck, with the drop gates, which I still have. Yeah. 55 Volkswagen. Wow. He would line the bed of it with engines. So he'd put 7 engines around the perimeter of it. And he would sit in the middle of it in a lawn chair. And he had a gutted transmission case and a starter and a battery. And people would come look at the engines and he'd hook them up and start them and sell them out of the back of the truck. And that was how he funded his car hobby. So kind of grew up with that, and then just spent the weekends working on cars with my dad and my brother. Vowed I never would collect Volkswagens. I wanted something totally different than that. And then, we had a killer auto shop program where I grew up. I grew up in Northern California, and my senior year of high school, I had 7 periods of auto shop a day. I had English in the middle of the day, and the rest of my day was auto shop.
I was going to say, was it anything outside of that?
Auto body. I had advanced mechanics. We had a full-blown shop down.
That is incredible.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, wow.
And we were chopping tops on hot rods and building engines and doing all of that stuff there at the school. So I was doing that, and then there was a shop down the road from my house that restored pre-war American full classics. So Packards, Auburn, Cord, Duesenberg, those type of cars. So I walked in there. I spent one summer pumping concrete with my friend's dad, and in Sacramento, which was 110 degrees every day.
Miserable, yeah.
And I said, I'm not doing that. So I walked into this shop and said, I'll take any job you can give me, which was at that time sandblasting parts in a cabinet, right? And so I started in there and worked my way up as a fabricator in restoring cars there, and actually took my first car that I'd worked on to Pebble Beach when I was 18. So
wow.
Is
that some sort of record? I mean,
I have no idea.
It's got to be, right?
I think we can say here, we can declare it the record right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
right.
Well, it was really cool to be able to do that and send a car off to Pebble Beach at that age. It was a really cool experience. And then so I had always planned on being a restorer. And so that's what I did, and I restored cars professionally. Math is slow for me right now, but until I took the job with Hagerty. So I was like 14 when I started in that shop, and I worked there until I was 30, I think.
Okay.
So,
Wow. And it was the same
two
shop.
different shops. No, different shops. So I traveled all around the West and kind of just followed wherever my wife wanted to live. I mean, got married and then we kind of moved around. We lived in Hawaii for a while. I restored Ferraris in Hawaii. Then came back and ultimately found a shop here in San Diego called Allen Taylor Company that did pre-war European cars, mainly French cars. So Bugatti, Delahaye, Delage, Tabalago, those were like the cars that we did. So before I started at Hagerty, I had taken 17 cars to Pebble Beach. So
tell us a little more. What is that like from that perspective? I mean, and I think like the Tabalagos are just works of art. You know, I've gotten to see several of those at Pebble the last couple of years, and they're just incredible. But what's it like to be on that side of Pebble?
It's really cool, and it's awesome to have a part of history like that. Pre-war European cars, I always joke that the reason that they usually win Pebble Beach is because no one knows how they were built, because no one's alive who was there and they built everything by hand. So it's really easy. It's not like a Ford where they're like, well, Larry worked the line and he was left-hand drive, so that bolt goes this direction. They have all that documentation. Nobody knows what Pierre was doing on Tuesday in 1935. Right. So there was a lot of that goes on. It's a lot of hours, and ultimately I'd love to say it was amazing all the time, but June, July, and August were, 16 plus hours a day, 7 days a week in the shop working on cars. I could show you photographs of cars that were in primer in June and best of class in August. So it was, painting cars in garages in Pebble Beach, rebuilding transmissions and, carports out at Pacific Grove. Like, wow, it gets really wild, and there's a lot of hard pressed hours. And then,
Logan, also you're working with like priceless stuff. I mean, how do you get past that just sort of like nervousness, especially when you're young? Like when I was 14, I shouldn't have been allowed anywhere near one of these cars, and you were hands on.
There comes a point though where it's just a car, it's like it outside of like the French cars use all this odd hardware like 1.0 bolts, which are impossible to find. But outside
why did
of that,
they do that? Sorry to interrupt, but why? Why would they just to be different? Okay.
Yes. Just because they can.
Bugatti uses their own hardware altogether, like different heads. You have to use special wrenches and everything for it. But it's just so French. But outside of that, paint and body is the same. A Mustang is the same as a Bugatti. It's outside of the shape or whatnot. A lot of it is just understanding the processes and the hand holding with all of it. For example, chrome. When you set out plating, you don't just send it to a chrome shop and like get it come back. We would build jigs for the chrome to hold it so they could polish it on a jig so it didn't flex. We'd send it to them. They would copper it, polish it, send it back to us. We would file it so it fit. We'd send it back to them. They would copper it again. They'd send it back to us. And we'd do this through the nickel and the chrome process so that we knew that it hadn't been warped or damaged at some point with all of it. And sometimes that was us sending it across the country to D&D for plating, and it was like overnight shipping because you didn't want it to get damaged. So it's expensive, but you have to guarantee it, and if it's lost, it's gone forever. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and when you think about the process that you go through, and like you said, all the back and forth, sometimes across the country multiple times, just to maintain, but to maintain the integrity of the shape.
Right.
That's not something most of us ever experience or even are aware of.
Yeah, and, technology's changed a lot. We used to have to scale photographs for parts that were missing build them out of Bondo and then have them cast, have patterns made and everything else, and you'd scale them. I remember one time we had this headlight yoke that we had built, and like my friend got in the car and it was like laying on the seat, right? He goes, "What's this?" I go, "That's the most expensive headlight bracket you've ever seen. It's worth nothing to anybody, one person, because it's for one car that was the one that was made, and that's it. There isn't a replica of it." But yeah, I mean, you get to those points where everything's handmade and filed and done by photographs, because most of these great cars are photographed at the period. It's and you stick with them. I mean, in fact, tomorrow I have to go down to La Jolla to start a Bugatti that I had showed and restored in 2014, because the customer,
because you're the guy.
I don't get paid. He calls me and he says, "I haven't started the car in 6 months, and I won't start it unless you tell me we're good." Yeah. So I go over there and help him start it. It's just, but it's because there's a passion with the car.
Right.
Can I ask, just because you were involved in restoration for such a long time, some of the trends you saw over time, like this sort of leaning toward more sympathetic restorations in more recent years, right? What's next? Yeah. Like, where are things headed there?
It is quite interesting that you mention that, because you do see these trends of like, we're undoing things that restorers did in the 80s and 90s, and I know like the 300 SLs have this whole thing of like, there was one guy in the 80s who would polish all the intake manifolds, right? Because that's what you did. If you wanted to win a car show, you made them pretty and shiny and blah, blah, blah. Right. And now people are going back and like beating up the manifolds to give them that cast look, because that's how they're supposed to be, right? There also comes a point where so many of them are modified that it kind of becomes unclear what the real thing looks like. So we do have that where, like, for Bugattis never had any chrome on the chassis. It was all nickel plated. Okay, so it tarnishes. Well, chrome lasts better than nickel.
Right.
So, and good luck finding somebody who wants to just nickel something. Everybody, you send it to the chrome shop, they chrome plate it. So you have to kind of go through this whole process of like, I can tell you, I've stripped chrome off of bolts and sent them out for electroless nickel. People thought I was insane, like perfect looking hardware. I'm like sending it out for, subpar product, but that's the proper way. So we are getting back to this like more pure restoration, but the preservation cars and all that, I think it's a really great thing. I will tell you that the lines are blurry on like, oh, well, this is a preservation car. It's like, I'm sorry, if the car's 80 years old and it's been maintained up to this point, a lot has been changed or replaced. A lot of the hardware is missing. But that's okay, because you're keeping it going and you're keeping it within the spirit of it. And I think that that's great. I think that we should move that way. I'm a huge fan of patina. I drive a 73 Land Rover Series 3 that looks like it's just been through war and it has no roof, and it's my daily driver. I drive it every day.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
It's beat up and it's got the tall, skinny tires on it, but I love it that way. I love that I can throw my kids in it, dogs jump in it. I don't care if it's scratched. I just use it, So, I think that stuff's kind of cool. The other thing that I love now is that people are starting to appreciate the story, as opposed to like the originality. Does that make sense? Like,
absolutely.
To me, a car that was repainted in the 70s because the guy's wife hated the color and then he painted it for her for this, that's more a part of the story than like taking it back to the original because that's what it was done, right?
Like making sure it was how it started. I mean, I think that's what draws so many of us to the car hobby, is the story and sharing all of our stories with each other too.
Right. So I remember one time when I was in high school, there was these chicken farm barns that were like, there was always a legend that they were full of cars. We drive by them every day. Those are full of cars. And you go, no, who knows? Well, it turned out that the owner of Ford Obsolete in Sacramento did own these, and they were full of cars.
No.
And they sold them all at auction one day. And I remember there was a 50 shoebox Ford Barris Brothers Custom that was unrestored. Like in perfect, like barn find shape, and it was up for auction. And I looked at it and went, "Who would buy this? You'd have to spend all this money to like restore it like back to what it was."
Yeah, to get it where you'd want it.
It's wild how that works, but yeah, things are changing. I think that it's going for the better, but it is getting difficult. Yeah. People aren't around. People don't remember what happened or why you would do it, or
Yeah.
And the values change all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, when you look at that, and depending on kind of who, like as the generations move through, like what their reference points are and disposable income and all that. And so that brings up a question I had, especially with like some of the French cars, how much documentation would you have access to, and how much did you rely on that and the photographs? What part did that play in the restoration?
So fortunately, Bugatti kept a lot of records. A lot of the cars, so due to the French tax laws, like if you remember, cars didn't change a lot. It's not like nowadays where they totally change every year. Like back then, like big deal when Bugatti went to hydraulic brakes, right? Well, I didn't want to buy a new car, but I wanted hydraulic brakes. The rest of the car was the same. I would send the car back to Bugatti. They would change the brakes and put a new body on it for me. To send it to another coach builder. I am tired of my sedan. I want a roadster. Like, I just send it to a coach builder. They build me a new body, and I don't pay taxes on a new car. I just change it.
Got it.
So there would be documentation that would happen, and it did happen quite a bit. These bodies would change. Cars would be updated. The war, we lost a lot of cars. A lot of things kept,
right.
Nazis kept great records.
Right.
And the club does have those records. Wow. They're not public to the world because of certain laws
history
that surround those, but you can talk to the register. He can give you pieces of information.
Fascinating.
And so you can kind of track where these cars went. There's usually some sort of part of its history that's missing. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that there's a lot of books written that can be great, but it also, if there's a misinformation and it's printed and it's like, you have to go back and try and figure out how did they reference that? How did they know? Because at the time they were just weird, quirky old sports cars, right? Like,
right.
It's not something that was a big deal. This would be like documenting an S-Class from the 90s. Right? Like, if I was writing a book about S-Classes in the 90s, people would be like, why?
Right. It's one of the, you don't understand the significance, or the like, why would we go to the trouble? Like, who cares? And then,
you just wait.
Right.
You just wait. I mean, you never know. I have a 912. Everyone, 15 years ago, people would go, what are you doing?
Right,
Is
like,
it a parts
why?
car? Or like, why would you have that? So, you just never know. And so, it is interesting. But the clubs were big. That's something that I think is sad now, is the clubs are not as valuable.
Right.
I think that people have moved away from that. It's more social clubs now, less hardcore documentation.
It's a great point.
And all of that. So, that's the stuff that does a lot. But the internet is great. I mean, you can start tracking all this stuff, and pictures are on the internet, and you can really start to figure things out,
Right. Well, and I experienced a bit of that when I was reviewing the Concours car information, like for the Amelia and the Detroit Concours. And I mean, the internet is an unbelievable tool, and the rabbit holes you fall down, and you kind of get, a piece of information here and a piece of information there. And like one of them, it turned out the car I was trying to confirm was down the street from me. Like, you just, it's wild, like the stuff that you find. And so, like you mentioned, the rebodying. I mean, I think that's such a foreign concept for today. But when you read some of the profiles of the Concours vehicles, that happened all the time.
Yeah, and it is interesting how that can drastically change the value of a car as to when it was done. It's like, was it a period rebody, or was it a not period rebody? The funny part is why does it matter? Somebody built a body, out of ash frame and aluminum hand shaped. Like, does it really matter if it was Pierre in France or whether it was John in Minnesota? Yes, value-wise it does, but at the same time it is the same craft and everything else. So, but they're, in the in the early 2000s, you would never restore a four-door, car. You would rebody it to something better because that was just the way that it went. Those turned into parts cars. So,
do you think with EVs and all that and this sort of skateboard chassis and all that we'll ever get back to any sort of coach building? Like, will there be an opportunity for that among like the elite at least?
I think that they're pushing for some of that. The tough safety regulations are what are really difficult. I mean, I read a whole bunch. I had ordered one of the first Broncos, and I had read, they had to go back and forth with the safety. Now, I could be wrong on all this, but I read that, like, the Bronco badge, made it too tall because you can't have anything that protrudes farther than X point for safety. So they had to go back and, shorten how much elevation the badge. I mean, there's so much that goes on with that
it's amazing anything gets built.
Right.
Honestly,
the R&D that goes with it. But hopefully I think that would be really cool if there was that. And there's so much great technology now that can build that stuff. So especially in the aftermarket.
Yeah, when you think about if you combine the talent with the technology we have today, we could make some pretty great things.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with Hagerty and haven't restored professionally for, over 10 years now.
Right.
Since then, like 3D printers are like a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
We never had any of that then. We were still casting things and, doing all that. And now you can build all those parts. Like,
still trying to wrap my head around that.
It's just crazy how much you can do now that you couldn't do then. So it is a great thing. The toughest part is that, like, even then, like, people go, oh, do you use like CNC, like 3-axis machines? And it would be like, well, no, because the setup time wasn't worth it to make the one part for the one car that exists. Like, if I wanted to reproduce 10 of those headlight yokes, it might justify it. But to make one, it still wasn't worth the work. You're better off to just hand make it like they did then. But 3D printers have changed that game a lot. So.
Yeah, when you were talking about fabricating single parts, 3D printing popped into my head. And just it'd be interesting to go back, for you to go back and do that with that tool.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but, it still is. I'm shocked still how manual a lot of this is. I mean, to gather the information. I had if you want to hear a cool story.
Always.
Yes.
So, 2 summers ago, I was on Craigslist, which I usually am. No, I'm sorry. It was Facebook Marketplace. I'll rephrase.
All good stories start with Facebook Marketplace.
And it was a free ad, and it was an old safe, like, laying on its back. And, like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, you see a safe that's closed and it says free. You're like, what does your imagination tell you, right? Like,
right.
What's inside of it? So it was free, and it had a picture of a safe. And then I scrolled, and then it said Doom Buggy chassis. And I went, that's not a Doom Buggy chassis. Because I could tell it was a pre-war car chassis. And I go, well, it's not a Ford. It looks big. And so I sent it to my friend, Aaron Robinson, who writes for our magazine.
Yeah.
And I go, what do you think this is? And he goes, it's right-hand drive. And I go, you're right. It is right-hand drive. And I go, it's big. And so I messaged the guy, and he's like, you can have it if you want it, but you need a schedule because it was in this, like, have you guys ever heard of Rancho Santa Fe? It's like the most expensive neighborhood in like.
Right. Well, and they have a good Cars and Coffee there.
They have an amazing Cars and Coffee.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
And Briggs Cunningham lived in Rancho Santa Fe. Bing Crosby lived in Rancho Santa Fe. So my imagination's running wild as to what this car could be in a field in Rancho Santa Fe. And this guy goes, it's in the middle of the Bridges, which is a super exclusive neighborhood. And he goes, you have to go through the guard shack, so I have to give him your name and driver's license number. So I give him that, and I drive down there, and I go through it, and it turns out that it's a Daimler, pre-war Daimler.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking at the size of it, and I go, I think this is a Daimler Double Six. So, which, for a reference, every Daimler Double Six that has entered in Pebble Beach in the last 40 years has won Best of Show. And only 2 of them have entered. So they made like 12, okay, of this thing. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is a Daimler Double Six. What is this doing? Surrounded by mansions, and it's in the middle of this field. And there's an active beehive in the gas tank.
I mean, of
You gotta
course.
earn it.
And I'm like, do I really want to do this? Couldn't get a beekeeper to come out there because of the whole gate situation. I had to buy a beekeeper suit
Oh, shut up.
and a smoker, and I was watching YouTube videos on how to relocate the hive and the whole 9 yards. So I do this, I get the thing out, I put it in my backyard. My wife's like, what are you going to do with that? And I go, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's going to live here for now until I figure out what it is. We happen to be going on a vacation in England. I got to go into the National Auto Museum. They had the Queen's Daimler Double Six there. I was able to crawl underneath it, take pictures, document it. I'm ordering books on Amazon that are not in print. No one knows anything about these. Everybody at the club, I talked to Nigel Matthews, who's the head of the AC Jag. He does all the judging. I'm sending him pictures. He's messaging the club, and they go, there's no way that car exists. We know all Daimler Double Sixes.
And you're like, au contraire.
And then they look at it, and they go, wow, we found another one. And then, here's where the story gets weird. I call my old boss, and I tell him about this. And he goes, well, we restored the car that won Best of Show in 1999, and there was a parts car.
Oh, wow.
No.
In the 90s that they used to pull the engine out of and to strip some parts. And he goes, I don't know what happened to the rest of the frame. Turns out they decided it was worth nothing, and they pushed it into a field where they thought there would never be homes built.
Yeah,
All these homes were built around this last lot, and that's where the car was
No
laying.
kidding.
So
oh, that's incredible.
we drug it home, and I ended up selling it to a guy in Austria who had an engine.
Oh,
He had had the engine for 25 years, and he was about to sell it because he was determined he would never find a frame.
Right.
wow. Wow.
Do you know how he came to have the engine?
I have no idea. The language barrier was real.
More importantly, Logan, what was in the safe?
I didn't take the safe.
Oh, there's a free safe? That's just like
there was
He
like
was too
package
busy.
promise.
inside of it. It was like it was. I had my hands full with the bees.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna
no,
say,
It was safe. Yeah,
You were
So-
you were learning amateur beekeeping.
That's amazing. That is a great story.
I just remember there was a part. I had my dad come out with me, and he and my next door neighbor are in the truck, and I'm in the suit, and I know nothing about this, and I get them out, and they swarm me, right? And so I'm like doing the whole thing, and I walk over to the truck, and as I approach the truck, I hear the doors lock. And my dad's like, nope, you're not getting it, because I'm covered in bees.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So we had to pull the frame away, and luckily the bees got off of me and everything else. But I go, I just live here now. My dad's going to leave. And
Right. It's just me and this double six, I guess.
yes.
Cars really bring fathers and sons together, don't they? That's
Yeah, but
that's
you know, people would go, well, are you going to restore this frame? Like, this is a car that I could take to Pebble Beach. And it's like, well, no, because that's a $500,000 restoration, even if I
Right.
did it myself, because I'm going to have to cast a block, and I'm going to have to do, these parts don't exist. And you're talking, huge undertaking to do it. And quite frankly, who wants a giant? I mean, this car was 6 feet long from the hood, from the firewall to the grill.
wow. Wow.
The engine part was
Wow.
6 feet
Wow.
long.
You imagine.
That's incredible.
And this was a short wheelbase with a 12-foot wheelbase. So you imagine the car that it didn't have a body; it was just a chassis, but it had all the wheels and brakes.
It's the sporty one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a sporty 12-foot wheelbase.
Right. This one really corners. That long wheelbase, not so much.
Logan, it's amazing that these things are still out there, that there are still barn finds to be found. But they're out there. Someone here in Denver the other day said, I was driving down the street and there was a garage door that was open that's never open. And inside was a Carrera GT with boxes on top of it, plywood leaned up against it. So people are still making barn finds. They're still, it's incredible, but it's.
I always say that, boxes behind and on top of cars are the death of cars.
Yeah, what is that?
Because it's just when I remember there was a 30s Willys Overland that was in the garage next door to my in-laws, and it had been in there for 20 years. And she told me that their pool house had flooded, and they moved everything out of the pool house into the garage, and they packed in the car, and then it never moved again.
Right, that was
and then
it.
The husband died, and because it was just too much of a pain to move the stuff, and then the car gas goes bad, and then you don't start it, and then they just stay, you know?
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's enough of a barrier, and you go, oh, it's just too much trouble, and then before you know it, 20 years went by.
So that's why in my garage I have a nothing behind the car rule. Like,
Nice.
You're not allowed to pack cars in, even if they don't run.
I like it. I feel like that's a good life guideline. Well, and so you mentioned your cars, and one thing I did want to ask you about is, have you joined, I know your team is very fun, and there has been a steadily growing flock of rubber chickens. And so I wanted to know, you mentioned chickens. I want to see, have you joined the flock?
I do. Yes, I have one. She's somewhere. My kids steal it. So, yeah.
And what is yours
mine
name?
Mine is actually a boy. Mine is Fabio.
Fabio's yours. Okay.
Yes. So, I do need to actually pack that before I head out to the Mille next week.
It's coming up. Yeah. But so that also, I mean, it might be the silliest segue to date, but you mentioned your 55 VW single cab pickup. So was that vehicle, would it have been subject to the chicken tax?
No.
That is a segue.
That was pre-chicken tax. The chicken tax came in, I think, in 1968.
Oh, it was a lot later than I thought. Okay.
Volkswagen stopped importing panels and pickup trucks to the U.S. was the chicken tax. So mine was pre that, and mine is registered as a truck.
So it was, okay.
Yeah, the chicken tax came in afterwards.
Just need to throw a couple seats back there, you know?
Right.
Good, yeah.
So that's what Ford did. That's what a lot of the manufacturers did.
The 6 Subaru Brats still out there all reside in Colorado, I'm pretty sure. So it's,
that's why they had seats in the back.
5 of them are in Boulder, most likely.
This is not a light truck.
The Forerunners were a similar situation early on. They had a...
That's why, the early ones. So what is in your current fleet? You mentioned the VW truck. You said you're the guy that brought the VW to Air and Water, which I love.
Yeah, so I have my grandfather's 55 Volkswagen truck. So the one that he was starting engines in the back of. And
that's awesome.
It's all beat up and slow and, got a nice patina on it.
So was it Dove Blue originally?
It was Dove Blue originally, and my grandpa painted it metallic forest green at Earl Scheib in 1980.
Earl Scheib. I love it. What a throwback.
It is now 50% green and 50% Dove Blue. He drove it every day to the post office till the day he died, and it lived every day of its life outside and, till I got it and have it here. So
that makes it a one of one. So has it been in the family the whole time?
So my grandpa bought it then. When he retired, he bought that, and he bought a 56 oval window Bug with 30,000 miles on it. And so in my family, my dad feels that he wants us to enjoy our inheritance with him. So he gives us our cars before he dies. So he inherited my grandpa's cars before he died, and my dad gave my brother and I the Volkswagens. So I got the truck and my brother got the Bug. The Bug was perfect. The truck was beat up, and at the time it was like, I got the truck because I was the one who worked on cars, and then the truck became way more valuable than the Bugs, oddly enough. Yeah. So I have the 55 Volkswagen. I have the 73 Land Rover. Nice. I have a 65 Porsche 912. And then
which is beautiful.
Yes, thank you. It's Irish green. It's a fun car.
It's so happy. I love it. Every time I get to see it, it's just so fun.
And then my most recent project that I just finished was I have a 75 Toyota Chinook motorhome.
Right.
That I did a full restoration and 4x4 conversion on. So
that was the one I thought Dan might want to hear about that. He's a big...
there we go. Are you going to sell it?
I built it to sell it, but obviously I'm
Dan's ears just perked up.
It's the perfect Pacific Northwest vehicle. Yeah,
Nice.
so it's
Yeah.
it's the little Toyota pickup truck. They were built actually out of Seattle originally.
Really? Meant to
By
be, Dan.
Chinook, and they put a fiberglass body on the back, and they have a pop top. So they were built to compete with the Westphalia. So they're kind of a weekender camper. I put a complete 82 Toyota 4x4 drivetrain underneath it, did a full restoration on it. It's really cool because even with it lifted or on a 4x4 chassis, with the top down, it's 7 feet tall, so it fits in a drive-through. It's like 19 and a half feet long, so it fits in a parking lot. It's actually smaller than my F-150.
Wow.
But it has, full bed, kitchen, and I can fit a 10-foot surfboard inside of the roof. I have racks inside of there. So
Wow.
I actually take it to the beach and work out of it. That's where I do my Zoom meetings most days. So
That's amazing.
Living the life.
Like Mannix, yeah.
that's how I keep the kids away from me during the day.
That's excellent.
Like, I'm going to go drive to some quiet.
We all need one of those.
Yeah, right?
Jeez. I
So,
love
yeah, eventually I'll sell it, but for now I'm just enjoying it. So,
Well,
Well, when that
Dan,
time comes,
first writer for
give
me.
Dan a buzz.
yeah.
Of course, the joke is Dan doesn't need a camper. He'll sleep in anything.
That's true. That's true.
I slept in it once because my 9-year-old who helped me work on it was like, "We've got to sleep in this," so we slept in it once at the beach. But yeah, it's more a day tripper than anything.
Excellent.
Like,
Excellent.
and never
some-
again.
So
Oh,
you've
that's
got
funny.
this Bronco, a newer Bronco.
We had it. I sold
Okay.
the Bronco. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other modern stuff do it for you? I mean, obviously, you have an affinity for the older stuff, but anything out there right now that you'd love to own?
Our modern cars are pretty boring. It's an
Yeah.
Explorer and a F-150.
Just incredibly
They get the
functional
job done.
cars, right? They certainly do.
I mean,
right?
the Explorer is like one of those cars that's like, you look back at it and go, like, I don't know. But it's really easy to drive. It's got 3 rows. I have 3 kids.
Right.
When their friends are over, it's great. It drives awesome. I do actually, the new Explorers are actually kind of cool from a car guy perspective. Like the R&D was all done by the Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
They're rear-wheel drive. The engine is front to rear with a 10-speed automatic with a real drive shaft that runs down the back. It's got a Dana 44.
Really?
You can see the pumpkin in the back.
Really?
I mean, it's not like anything else on the road when you're talking SUVs, right?
Please tell me you have a spotlight.
I wish.
Yeah, okay.
Went in there. I was like, I want one that is not white or black because
Right.
Hagerty Explorers used to be black, and they said they had like a blue hockey stick down the side, and it said Hagerty. Everyone would slow down. They thought you were the police.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you went, you looked like a cop. So yeah, I was like not a black. We have a
Cuts
gray
both
one.
ways.
Yeah, so.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there is something like, even if there isn't a light bar on top, the white ones make me do a double take, and I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
I don't want to find out. Like,
It's,
I'm just getting over the Crown Vic profile, so then this comes along. So.
Yeah, so I loved the Bronco. The problem is I also have a 98 Land Rover Discovery. And so here I am sitting on like 4 4x4s. And at the time I had a 64 Wagoneer that I had done a LS swap in and that I was daily driving at the time. And so it was feeling a little redundant with like these 4x4 SUVs. And then the issue is that like love the Bronco, but like making payments on a car that like hurts your back after you've been driving it for an hour and you can't talk on the phone because it's so loud with the top.
Yeah.
Was like, I couldn't. And I drove it for a year. I put 28,000 miles on it and I sold it for the exact same price I bought it
Nice.
for.
well,
'Cause I
that's
was
a
one of
pretty
the first
sweet.
ones to order it. So it was like free car for a year. So yeah.
Nice.
Let's talk about that Discovery. So that would be a Discovery 2?
Discovery 1.
Oh, Discovery 1. Was
So
that the last year?
98 is the magical year. 'cause
Yeah,
it's 4
okay.
liter. It's the end of the Disco ones.
Yeah. My folks had
I
a
actually
Disco.
really love that car.
Oh, I think
They're
those things
great.
are great. I think they're absolutely future collectibles, classics. Anything with the
Oh.
Safari window is cool by me. It's
Yeah, what's funny about the Discos? Sorry, you're gonna get me to nerd out here.
no,
is
I
that, like,
love them.
That's the whole point, right?
The chassis on a Disco 1 is a short wheelbase Range Rover Classic chassis.
Okay.
All the inner structures are the same for the most part. Arguably everything that fits component-wise is NA Defender, right? All those other cars are six-figure cars now, or high 90s. And then the Discovery I bought for $1,000, and it had shiny paint and no tears on the upholstery, right? Like,
which is saying
Dan,
something.
they'd broken a brake line, and the guy was like, "I'm spending money on this. Get it out of my yard." And it was a $30 fix, and it was beautiful, right?
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, it has its. Here in the States, we got. They're not great engines. I mean, you have to learn how to.
Sure.
You have to put.
It's a big Buick engine, isn't it?
It is. It's a aluminum Buick 50s Buick engine.
Yeah.
The problem with them is that Land Rover decided that you didn't need to worry about the temperature gauge. And it goes to the middle, and it does not move from 120 till 215 degrees.
Okay.
Huh.
At 215, it starts to move, and as we know, it's too late. Like, you're
Right.
done. So, and they were built to drive around foggy London, right?
Sure.
Like, they just were not made for this. So, the first thing you do is put, like, a good fan in it, put an aluminum radiator in it, and then you drill a bung right into the thermostat
Okay.
with a extra temperature gauge on your dashboard that reads what you need.
Okay. Dan, as our resident Brit, is this all like funny to you that we do nerd out on these? Like, I mean, what are these cars thought of like back in the UK?
The Disco's a classic, and they're used a lot for like green laning and off-roading. So,
Okay. What's green laning?
green laning is there's a set of roads in the UK that aren't official roads, but you can still use them if you've got the right vehicles.
Okay.
They tend to get lifted a lot in the UK.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and also a great camping car. You've got so much headroom in the back.
One could even sleep in it, should you be so inclined.
They have rust problems. I know that.
Yeah.
And the frames had rust problems
Right,
on the
because-
Disco ones.
Yeah.
And so when we were in England on this last trip, I actually encountered a few Disco 1 pickup trucks. They sell an aluminum cab back because when they don't pass the MOT because of the frame failures, they cut the back of the body off. They plate so they can get to the frame. They plate them and they turn them into pickup trucks for farms.
That's got to be a hell of a weird looking thing.
But they never had. I mean, they didn't get the V8s in them. They had the diesel motors,
Oh, the
which were
TDI.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We never got that. All of ours were V8s with automatic transmissions, which is just. I mean, you could get a manual, but very few people did.
Interesting.
But it's a great car. I mean,
yeah.
you just have to. It'll run great if you treat it like it's an '80s car, even though it was built in '98. Like it's not a '98 Tacoma. It's a '80s. 81 Toyota.
Yeah.
You just have to be honest and realistic about what it is and then go from there. That's great.
Yeah, my son's 16. He's getting his license soon.
Congratulations.
Nice.
So he's excited to drive it. I think it's perfect. It's slow. It's unreliable. He won't drive it very far. Gets terrible gas mileage. He won't be tempted to drive his friends around. It's going to be perfect. So
Yeah.
That's like an analog geofence. You're like, how do we demotivate all of the things?
Analog geofence.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay,
That's
so this
awesome.
is something that I've been thinking about a lot, and so I'm curious, given your son's age and the fleet that you have. So, did he learn how to drive a manual yet?
he is not yet, but he
Okay.
will. Yeah. All my kids want to.
Yeah.
What we do, and I've done with my daughter, is I drag the Series 3 out to the desert, and then we just drive around in the desert because
Right.
you can put it in low and she can stall it and she can drive for miles without running into somebody else. So that's kind of our way of getting them to drive. But yeah, no, they will learn. I mean, they ask who gets the cars. I said whoever learns to drive them.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah, that's the
Learn
same
to
over
fix
here.
it,
I'm
learn
like,
to
well,
drive it, you can have it.
I'm the one that can drive a manual, so you do the math. Yeah.
Well, tell us about some of the events you've got coming up that you're involved with. I know the California Mille is just around the corner. And
Yeah, so
it's
that
an
one-
amazing event.
We were headed back up north this year, so we're taking off out of Half Moon Bay, and we're doing
it's
wine
beautiful.
country for this rally. It's going to be an awesome 1,000 miles. It starts the Monday after next
Airwater.
Monday. So right after Airwater. So
Yeah.
gotta scurry up there.
Right.
Yeah, it should be really good. We have Ferrari. This is our first year doing a celebrated mark. So
Okay.
it's kind of cool to be able to bring in and say, hey, here's a reason to get this car out. And we are celebrating the Ferrari 250 this year. And so
That's amazing.
the other cool part about it
gets-
is that the California Mille has, we're strict to Mille rules, right? So it's got to be pre-58, cars that could have competed in the Mille.
Right.
But with the celebrated marks, we're able to push the envelope a little bit more. So we're taking all 250s up to 1967.
Oh, that's
year. So
awesome.
we actually have 8 Ferrari 250s coming along on the rally. So it should be awesome to just see those cars going through, these towns. We have 73 cars on the rally this year. It's gonna be a good fun time. So really looking forward to that one coming up.
Yeah.
Well, talk about, just to see 8 of those cars together being driven is, that's a once in a lifetime thing. And so is that, how many
hear
cars do you typically
those cars.
have participating?
So this will be our biggest one yet. To be honest with you, I don't know if it'll get much bigger because you get to a
Right.
point where it's really hard to find hotels and restaurants that can maintain the quality with the quantity, right? And
Yeah.
unless we want to drive around San Francisco for 5 days, we're not going to find huge hotels that can sustain those people. So that's usually where it is. It's usually about 50 to 70, 75 max.
Yeah.
So we try and keep it there. We do have a team of mechanics. We have chase cars, comfort cars, the whole 9 yards, right? You break down, someone starts working on your car. If they don't, we put it on a flatbed. You ride with, our team to the next stop. They work on your car. And
Yeah.
the mechanics are amazing. I've seen them rebuild transmissions overnight in the parking lot. It's pretty amazing the stuff that they get together, and the camaraderie that comes with that is really cool.
Is this an event that Hagerty purchased? So roll back a few years, and Hagerty went on this big shopping spree, I guess, of buying different types of events and, complementing their portfolio.
Yes, we bought this one from the Swigs. So the California
Right.
Mille was started by Martin Swig and run by the Swig family. They still are a part of it. So David and his brother Howard come on the rally every year. Their mom usually attends. They come out as our guests, and they also contribute to our planning and selection of cars and everything else.
Excellent.
So, they still are very much a part of it. But, yeah, we did purchase the California Mille as we did with most of our other events. So,
Right. That's
Other than the
it's so
two-
special to have them still be involved in it. And yeah, it's interesting, like you said, because to find the really good driving roads, a lot of those are not in like a big city. And so that would limit the event or the size.
yeah, and my partner in this is Dave Horde, who
Oh, I love Dave.
owns and runs Classic Car Adventures.
Yeah.
Dave is the ultimate car road finder.
He's
even to the
amazing.
point where we have to tell Dave to tone it down because, like, not all
Right.
of us can drive. Like, our demographics aging. They don't want to drive these, they're not even B roads. They're like C roads.
Right.
What did you call them in England? Green.
Oh, yeah,
Green Lane.
Green Lane.
I think that's what David have us on if we let him. But yeah,
I think green lining is the next overlanding.
Yeah.
You heard it here
There we
first,
go.
right? So, other than the 250s, which are amazing, what are some of your favorite cars, either this year or years past, that have just really?
we always have a great showing of pre-war cars that show
Yeah.
up that are just phenomenal. There's I think it's a 1923 Lancia that comes
Wow.
on the event every couple years. I remember one year we were going up Palms to Pines Highway, and I was driving up. I get the chase car. Unfortunately, as part of the organizer, we don't get to do the fun
Which is
stuff.
what? Which is probably something really cool.
Well, last year was a Lucid, so we had
Okay,
Lucids on
okay.
it.
Oh,
We had
nice.
Alphas. as a sponsor, so we're doing that. Sometimes
Ooh.
the Chrysler Pacifica minivan.
Oh,
Hey,
Depends on what
look
you're
out.
hauling. But this guy with the Lancia, his wheel came off, the hub fell apart.
Oh,
He spun it around. We got it on a tow truck. He took it back to the hotel. He made a new hub from parts that he bought at Ace Hardware. He's welding in the Ritz-Carlton parking lot in Palm Springs. And he's back
No
on
way.
the road the next day.
That's
and he's
amazing.
working on it himself. And so, yeah, there's always, a couple blower Bentleys and, some great cars. Obviously, sometimes we get the little Fiats and, the cars that are super slow and the guys are leaving early in the morning and getting there late at night. But that's what makes it pretty magical is that. It's not like, the Copper State, that's a high-speed rally. And if you're not in a car that can do over 100 miles an hour, it's really not fun. This rally is a lot more leisure and fun. So,
sort of the holistic
great showing of cars. Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, we look forward to seeing pictures,
Yeah.
especially the 8.
We'll be posting, so follow it on social media for sure. There'll be some really cool stuff that we're going to have coming. And if you're in the Bay Area, watch out for some old cars coming down the road. So we'll be around.
Yeah, talk about an amazing surprise to stumble across that, as you go about your day, right? So I have you mentioned vintage racing, and I know you surf. And so I was curious if you have noticed any parallels between those hobbies, and if so, what?
Yeah, I've always loved the intersection of surfing and cars. I'm really into vintage surfboards. This board back here is actually a copy of an old Dale Velzy board that I have. Dale Velzy actually was super into cars. He built hot rods. He had a 300 SL in the 60s. He was
awesome.
moving and shaking and all of that stuff. So cars have always been a part of it. Obviously, the Woodies and that.
Yeah.
But, there is always kind of an intersection with that. I used to have an old Falcon station wagon that I used as a daily driver, and it had boards on the roof all the time. Obviously,
awesome.
Aaron Ashton with his California 912. It's so cool to see the boards on the top. And, I always have one classic car that I can, take the beach and use for surfing because it's just fun to have that and use them that way.
Yeah.
Huge resurgence in, old Ford pickup trucks, the old F-100s. Those are huge down here with, the surfing crowd. So, yeah, there's a cool intersection with it. There's a lot of cool history with it. I collect old vintage 60s surfboards, and it's really cool to see that. The great part about surfboards is that if they get water damaged, it's really hard to fix them. So it really is about preserving what you can out of the board. You can't just repaint it. You have to repaint the board. So it is kind of cool to have that history with them. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. And that's different, obviously, very different mindset kind of with cars in terms of how you treat them. And you're right. Especially in California, Hobie was based here and he was one of the pioneers. And like you said, the Woodies and all of that. I think that was one of my favorite photo ops at Luft in the fall was Aaron's car with 6 or 8 surfboards strapped on the top was just so fun.
Right. Well, and, there is this cool intersection. Have you ever heard of PetroSurf?
No.
In Germany, I think. So it's a friend of Patrick Long's, but they go to this island and they do this Porsche surfing event. And
that
you
sounds
have to
amazing.
take a ferry there, and it's this whole thing. I really want to go to it.
Wow.
There's also a great event in August. It's the second Wednesday in August, and it's called Big Wednesday, and it's a VW surf event at San Onofre. And it's it's free. You just pay to go to San Onofre, but buses line up for miles. They camp out on the road to get in there. They get in there first thing in the morning. They grill breakfast burritos on the beach, and they just surf and hang out. But it's this whole beach takeover of VW buses that go on there.
Incredible.
So I keep talking to Patrick about doing some sort of surf event. The tough part is it's hard to close a beach and turn it into a paid event. So it really has to be more gathering than a real show.
Yeah. Yeah, you sort of facilitate the gathering rather than shutting down the beach. Well, and so for those not familiar, can you describe San Onofre quickly? Because it's such a landmark for us Californians.
Yeah, San O's like super cool because it is old California, right?
Right.
So like you drive down the dirt and you park on the sand.
Yeah.
The other cool part about San O is that like they only let a certain amount of vehicles in. And when it's full, they keep you like out.
Yeah.
It's not like you drive around looking for a parking spot, right? Like you're at the gate and you wait until someone else comes in. So it's really cool to be able to be down there like on the water. Yeah, and they have like the old like shacks with the palm leaves on the roof and
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. The last time I was there at
that
the
sounds
beach, a bunch of us went, and I did not know how to surf at that point, so I was like, oh, I'll just go and take the board and we'll go out at Sano. And within a week, the friends that I was there with, they said, by the way, there were 2 great whites there that night, but we didn't know it. So it just adds to the fun.
So the power plant there, that
Right.
iconic power plant that everybody knows, it always warmed up the water.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of fish there. Now that is not running anymore, so the water's back down to normal temperature. There seems to be less shark activity. But they're actually taking down that entire power plant, so that'll change
didn't
the
know
skyline
that.
a bit. Yeah, so...
That's going to
I'm thinking
change
Simpsons
the
and the
drive.
fish have 3 eyes or something. But this wasn't that kind of power plant. I assume.
Oh, it was. It's a new plant for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Logan, I mean, this it sounds like you got this amazing car life. A young person, or maybe a not so young person, who wants to sort of follow in your footsteps. Any advice? Because car enthusiasm certainly is not dead with the young people, as I think some people would like to think.
No, I think honestly, it's so much better now than it used to be. I mean,
thank you for saying that. Right?
when we were kids, you had to like stumble into the shop and meet the old like crotchety guy who'd have to teach you something. I mean, I remember going into shops and them saying, "Well, you can sweep for free and I'll teach you things," right?
Right.
Or like that kind of stuff, and you were always having to be around these shops. Nowadays, like you can pick up your phone, you can watch YouTube videos, you can
Cars and coffees in every corner.
Cars and coffee are everywhere. The access to cars is just phenomenal now. I mean, like when I was a kid, you never got to see any of this stuff. Now you just go on the internet and you can know everything about every supercar that's going to be there.
Yeah.
And you can get access to a lot of things, and quite frankly, you can meet a lot of people. I've met people on social media and, didn't actually meet them in person for, years. And you run into them at an event and they go, "Oh, I love what you're doing with whatever." It used to be you'd show up at a car show and you hope somebody saw your car and thought it was cool. But now people can kind of know who you are and you can communicate on a different level. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for it. And, some of the old fashioned stuff of it is gone, but there's still
just get out there. Yeah,
there's a ton of cool stuff to see, and it's a lot more attainable, I guess, is what I'd say.
That's true. Well, and
It's a lot more expensive than it used to be, but
yeah. Well, and we are
yeah.
so lucky to have, social media. I mean, that's how all of us got connected for the most part. And like you said, all these amazing relationships, people across the country that would never run into each other. And like you said, we're following our friends' projects in different states, different countries. That would not have been possible before. And you have these amazing relationships developing. And yeah, you meet maybe in several years after you got to know each other. So it's pretty special.
It also tells you of all the events that are going on. I can pop on to Instagram and see, oh, there's something going on in LA. I think I'd like to go to that. Otherwise, I would know none of that. I'd only be in my little local bubble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has broadened, I think, all of our horizons in a really great way. I think we have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you tonight, Logan, and I think we could probably talk for another 3 hours, but we want to, respect your time.
Sorry.
We know,
Love to have you back
Edit
sometime.
down all the boring stuff.
Yeah,
no, I mean, it's been so entertaining, and I'm like, okay, now I have 17 other questions, so hopefully you'll come back and join us, because we know you have a very big couple weeks coming up, so want to let you go.
Definitely.
But Could you tell us what is the coolest car you've ever done a four-wheel drift in before you go?
Oh. Yeah, so one time I had just done this Bugatti Type 50S, which is a full big car, not like a sporty Grand Prix car.
And what year would that be?
Supercharged. What's that?
What year would that be
19
from?
This one was 1930.
Okay.
Supercharged, double overhead cam, dry sump.
Wow.
I think it was it 4 or 5 liter straight 8. Okay, so big engine.
Yeah.
And I remember driving it around the block, and I was like, this thing's got some pep, right? And like, I'd driven a Type 46, which is a big leisure, like luxury car. Steering wheel's like this big, and you're just like going around the corner. And I had my coworker in there, and we were kind of working it through because the car hadn't been driven in a while. And I remember coming around the corner, and I was like, this thing's got some pep. And I stepped on it, like not thinking much of it. And next thing you know, the car was in a full 4-wheel drift, like going around the corner. It was awesome.
Love
it was really cool.
I love it.
The car belonged to Peter Mullen, so I was kind of, now I can kind of say that I've done it, but.
Well, you can safely share that story now.
Like, whoa, maybe we should have done that. But no, it is amazing. The technology has changed so much, but some of that is still there even that early on. So
everyone's always looking for a niche, right? Car YouTube. I'm thinking drifting pre-war cars. I mean,
pre-war cars. There's actually a guy who just does that with an Austin 7, and he like drives it in the winter, and he just does like drift videos, and he's got like 1 million followers. Like people just love watching him do donuts.
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Yeah.
Logan, can we ask you where to find information about Hagerty and its events?
Yeah, our Hagerty website has that. We've got a tab on there for our events. We've got a lot of great events coming up. Motorlux, our tickets go live tomorrow, Friday the 18th. So
yeah.
We'll be looking forward to getting our tickets out there. And we are taking applications for vehicles right now. So we've got
some green laning cars.
What's that?
Some green laning cars, maybe?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
It's a hell of a party, too.
So.
It's highly recommend it.
So is there,
the best way to kick off the week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Motorlux is such a great kickoff. It's, it's so sparkly and colorful and just joyful. Are there particular types of cars or a theme of vehicles that you're looking for this year?
So we have a few cool classes that we're doing. We've started honoring a coach builder each year. So we are doing Bruno Seco, who is the chief design for Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. So it'll be really cool. He was there for a long time, so we're going to have some great 80s, 90s Mercedes as well as some of his early designs.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
We are going to be celebrating the 60th anniversary of Mustang.
Nice.
Doing a special class of cars that were factory equipped to exceed 200 miles an hour. So that'll be from 1987 on.
Okay.
We are celebrating Porsches. So every year we get a ton of people wanting to show Porsches.
Right.
So we're doing a class called From Stuttgart with Love. The cool part is that we always try and do a curated display with food and everything else. So we are doing German food.
Nice.
And beer steins and things like that along with these German cars. We're also doing micro cars. So that should
excellent.
be fun.
Excellent.
And another really cool one, we're doing a special display for motorcycles called Mods versus Rockers. So we're going to have the scooters and the cafe racers together in a cafe scene. So it's kind of
excellent.
Epcot feel where you go around
right.
and you do the food with the cars with the they're there along with the jets. It's at night. It's a cool party.
Yeah.
We're doing some really cool stuff, and it's not to be missed for sure. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Well, I think that's one of the things that really sets Motorlux apart is, you and the team do put so much attention into delivering a really unique experience. And like you said, even within the event, you can have 5 or 6 different experiences, however many themes you have. But it's a one-of-a-kind event.
Yeah.
And not to be missed. So go get your tickets. Go apply to put your vehicle display in.
You want a behind-the-scenes cool fact about Motorlux?
Yes.
That entire tarmac is an airport by 9 a.m. the next morning.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we set up that entire event, and it comes down in the exact same night that it goes up. So everything, you go back the next day for the Broad Arrow auction, and guess what? There's planes there, not cars, not carpet, not bars, none of it. So it's all one night. We don't get a lot of sleep that night, but yeah.
No.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's a feat in itself. Never mind the entire event that you put on.
Yeah.
To restore it back to an active runway is,
Takes us all year to plan it. It goes off in one night, and it's back to nothing the night afterwards. So
right.
Amazing.
Blink and you missed it. Yeah.
busy on it. So.
Well, you are very
Logan,
good at your job, Logan.
He's amazing
My
at his
team's
job.
really good at their job. I couldn't do it without them. I mean, we all work tirelessly. So
Sure, I'm sure.
Yeah, you have an amazing team, and you all work so well together. And the rest of us really appreciate the fruits of your labors.
Good.
So where can we find you online to follow along with this super unique fleet and all your adventures?
Oh yes, at Logan Cal is
On Instagram.
my Instagram handle. Yeah, I think
Nice.
I have Facebook too, which is probably the same thing. I don't know how to look myself up on Facebook, but really just keep it for my parents.
There you go.
Somehow they see those posts. I don't know how it works, but yeah.
The only thing I do on Facebook is Marketplace, obviously.
Right.
We should all be doing more marketplace.
Yeah,
Start searching for free safes tonight.
right. Well, Logan,
I'm
thank you
sure
so
the
much
safe's
for...
still there, Ryan, if you want to
What's
go.
oh
I mean,
yeah. 1,200 pounds.
There's a beekeeper outfit you can buy, and they're going cheap.
I got one you can borrow. Yeah.
I love it.
the beekeeping listing is right next to the one for the safe.
But the best part is that last month a swarm of bees made a hive in my backyard under our doghouse, and I was equipped and ready for it. So we've used it twice now. So
We should all have one hanging in our closet.
yes,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's it. You're like,
Thank you, Logan.
never thought I'd say this, but I am ready to address this situation. Well, true
The best.
enthusiast and amateur beekeeper Logan Calkins,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. This has been really fun, and we look forward to seeing the pictures. And thank you to all of the listeners and fans and friends and supporters that have downloaded and listened and rated and sent us all the love since we debuted. We really appreciate it, and stay tuned for more. And don't forget, always be driving. This is That Car Show, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.